All right, Panthers, let's hit the ground running after jumping out of that tree. We could say here, we got a math club. Oh yeah, math rules. Okay, 14 of the members have a score of 78. Not too shabby. 18 of the members have an average score of 88. Looking good. All right, so what's the entire average for everything? So we could say, okay, let's take 14 78s. Wow. Oh my gosh, that's a lot, right? 70, 70, 70, 70, all the way up to 14 78s there. We have how many? 1888. Write them all down. 1888s. Take all of those, add them all together, and then divide. I want to make it a different color. I want to make my color black, thick. Divide by how many total students there are, how many club members. Well, that would be 14 plus 18. So then I would have to divide by, added it right here in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Divide by 32. Now, I don't know about you, but whether we're doing this, writing it all down and calculating it on paper, or putting in a calculator, that's a lot of calculating. That's a lot of button pressing. So let's go do this. Let's just do this a little bit of an easier way. Since there are 14 78s here, I have 78 14 times. I'm going to say 14 times 78. And since we have, I'm going to add this, of course, to what our green numbers are represented by here, by these class members who got scores of 88 points. We have 18 of those, so let's do 18 times 88. And we're still going to divide by 32 total members, because that's 14 plus 18 gives us the 32. Okay, so this looks much more reasonable to be putting in the calculator right here. Come on, calculator. Do your magic, shall you? Yes, I will do your bidding, master. Okay, 48 times 7, no, 14 times 78. Remember, the calculator is only as smart as the person using it. Okay, let's go. Okay, 1092, that's going to be our blue number. Okay, then we have 18 times 88. 1584, that's going to be our green number. So when I added 1092 plus 1584, I have 2676. I'm just going to take that, it's already there, and divide it by 32 and get my final answer, 83.625. 83.625 points, which makes sense because it's got to be more than 78, right? And probably, yeah, it has to, because 78 is going to be our lowest number, and it's got to be less than 88 because 88 is our highest number, and this number does fall in between. If we had something like 180 or something like 7, we know something wouldn't be something would be amiss, something would be awry. Let's go. Okay, so I'm jumping right into this here, and I'm going, okay, so we've got 8 students here, goes with 6 years, so I did 8 times 6 here. Then we have 12 students, goes with 9 years here, so I did 12 times 9 here. And what is that total number of students? I want to be careful with that, so I don't want to use I'll make sure I use the correct numbers. 12 students and 8 students. Put them all together right here, down here at the bottom. 12 plus 8 is 20 students. That's where this 20 comes from here. Calculator time. Pull up the calculator, clear the last thing, whatever was on there. Do my 8 times 6 first, which I really should need a calculator for, but I did it. 48. So then I got to do my 12 times 9. All right, so once I get those two numbers there added up, then it's smooth sailing on the calculator. I just have 48 plus 108 equals. See, now I have my answer, 156. I can go right into dividing that by 20. Divided by 20 and get my final answer as 7.8. All right, let's see if that makes sense. 7.8 years. The 6, we have 8 students at 6. So, and then we have 12 students at 9. So the oldest we have is 9. The youngest we have is 6. And 7.8 falls in the middle in there somewhere. So that does make sense. If we had something like 12 or 10 or 15, wouldn't make sense. That's too big. If we had something like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 and negative 7, yeah, that definitely doesn't make sense. Nobody's negative 7 years old, are they? I don't know. That's something to think about. Next. All right, jumping right into this, 75% fiction books. Each of those books sold for $15. So I'm doing the $15 times 75%. Then the next one, we have 25% nonfiction books goes with $16. So we just multiply $16 times 25%. And we all divide that by 100% because our total equals 100%. You take your 75% and your 25%, you get 100%. Yeah. Okay, so now we can't do this so nicely on the calculator. So we're going to just back up for just a second and let's convert those decimals. Let's convert those percents into decimals, which is really all we got to do is multiply by each one by 100. And if we do that, really all we're saying is take the decimal where it would be here and move it over 2 times. A 1, a 2, ba-boom, there it is. Like a whoop, there it is. You know I can't get enough of that. Okay, so now I got to get rid of the decimal and I get rid of the percent because now that's 75. 0.75 is the same thing as 75% essentially for our intents and purposes at this time. So I do the same thing here. 1, 2. So this 25% now becomes 0.25. And we're going to do the same thing, believe it or not, with this 100%. We're going to turn that into, it's right here. Move it over 2 times. 1, 2. Now it's right there. I'm talking like money, money, money. That's $1, right? So if I have that as $1, do I really want to plug that in as 1.00 on the calculator? Not really, because if you say this is $1 right here like this, it's still $1 if you write it like that. Just the 1. So let's make it a little more clear. Let's erase this. If I get rid of these 2 zeros and the decimal and that, it's still the same value. Now let's plug this into our calculator. Nice and easy. Clear the calculator for whatever might have been there before. 15 times 0.75 equals 11.25. Now we have 16 here times 0.25. 16 times 0.25 equals 4. What a nice friendly number. Yeah, and by the way, 4 is also something you might yell out if you're playing golf. It might be the friendly thing to do to let everybody know you're about to hit a ball, and they won't get hit with that ball. So now we got to take 11.25 plus 4 divided by 1. I know that's just 15. I don't need a calculator for that. 15.25 divided by 1, and now anything divided by 1 is itself, so we don't really need that there at all. We never did need it here. We could have gotten rid of it way over here if we wanted to. The answer is 15.25. What? Zebras, monkeys, giraffes? No, dollars. $15.25. We can't have a 0.25 giraffe or monkey, can you? Maybe you could. I don't know. I don't want to even think about that. Let's go. Move on. Let's go. Oh, color coding is so nice and it helps me. If you don't have colors, you can underline, circle, make boxes, whatever it is you got to do with what you got. So I have 10% of this tennis event, the players based on serves. So I color coded 10% serves. 40% on return balls, color coded. 40% for return balls. Then I've got 50% on wins, color coded purple. So now let's keep reading. Kylie makes 85% of the serves. What color do we do that with? Serves are green. So I'm going to color code that 85%. Serves green. Okay. Returns 70. What color was that over here? Returns is blue. So I got to color code that blue. So I know 70 goes with my 40. 85 here. Let's check that out here. 85 goes with my 10. And I'm just going to point this out really quick here. 75 here goes with my 40. Now what's left? Wins 75%. Oh, that's 70%. That's a lot of percentages here. 75% wins his games, and that's going to go with the 50. So I'm just going to say, 75 goes with 50. So this is going to be a little bit tricky because we have to make sure we distinguish between which of these percentages is the score and which one is the weight, right? So everything at the top here is the weight. And the weight percentages must equal and added together 100. Do they? 50. Here's this 50 here. There's the 10. And then there's the 40. Do they equal 100 when we add them up? Yes, they do. Which makes sense because if they didn't, we would have a problem because everything, all it has to add up. So everything that's weighted adds up to 100%. Now his score is 85, 70, and 75 do not add up to 100%, and that's okay. So we're going to do the score times the weight for each color. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so that looks like this. The score was 85% here, and here's the weight, 10%. Score, 75. Weight, 40. Score, 75. Weight, 50. Let's do the same thing over here, score and weight. So now we're going to convert all of our weights into decimals. Everything that's a weight, let's turn it into a decimal. So here, remember, we're just going to move that decimal 2 times. 1, 2. There it goes. Now we can erase our percentage and how we moved it. Do that to all of those. Now this next thing I'm going to show you isn't necessary, but I highly recommend it. I love it. These ending zeros, when you have decimals like this, when you're plugging into the calculator, you don't need to do that. It just saves some time, but not putting in 0.10. Instead, we're just going to put 0.1. We're going to put 0.4. Instead of 0.40, why are we going to type all those buttons when we don't have to? Let's just type 0.5 instead of 0.50. Now let's get our handy dandy calculator out and get to work. See what I mean? We're going to do not 85. Because that's, we're not going to do 0.85. We're keeping that. This is going to stay. This is going to stay 70. This is going to stay 85. This is going to stay 75. But come here, calculator. Don't be afraid. 85 times 0.1 equals 8.5. So that's going to be for our first part here, 8.5 plus, let's keep going, 70 times 0.4. Clear calculator, 70 times 0.4. I could put a 0 there. Watch what happens. I'll still get the same answer. 28. What if I didn't put the 0? What if I did 70 times just 0.4 instead of 0.40? I still get 28. Save yourself some time, yeah? And so on and so forth. So when it's all said and done, our friend Kylie here, who's playing tennis and getting scored on the tennis skills such as serves, return balls, and also wins, how much they win, his total is 74%. Does that make sense? Well, his highest rating was probably about 85. He's got a 70 and a 75, so it's somewhere in there. But this whole weighted thing can kind of make it pretty tricky. But it's totally, it doesn't make income. If we had like a 1%, a 2%, 5, 10, 20, I'd be a little concerned. If it were 120, I'd also be concerned. 74 sounds pretty reasonable. Next. Okay, this is pretty much like number 4, except it's a little bit easier because it's easier to distinguish which one is the score and which one is the weight. The weight is here percentage this time. And the score is not a percentage. They actually give you the points. So that's easy. Always we're going to say put the score first. And it really doesn't matter which one you put first. What matters is you know which one to change into a decimal. In this case, it's easy. The 75 we're going to change into a decimal. And we're going to change this 10 into a decimal, 10%. And we're going to change this 15% in decimal. If you don't remember, you just move the decimal. What? I did 2 snaps. That's for 2 times to the left. Move it 1, move it 2 to the left. Erase the evidence that you moved it and erase the percentage point. Oh, next one. Ready? 2 snaps. Move it 2 places to the left. This is the same thing as like multiplying it by 100. If we were dividing by 100, we'd need to move it to the right. But we're making this a bigger number, so we're going to move it to the left. Wait a minute. I think it's the other way around. Yes, it's the other way around. We're dividing by 100. Just kidding. We're making our numbers smaller. Yeah, we're dividing by 100. Because if we were turning a percent, then wait a minute. Okay, here goes. In an effort to redeem myself, and more importantly, to educate you properly and correctly, I'm going to show you, remember what we say percentage is. If we have 75%, what that means, that's the same as 75 per 100. And so really this is the same thing as 75 divided by 100, because this thing right here, this little fraction bar, it means pretty much divided by. Think of a fraction and think of a division symbol. Yeah, that means divided by. So I go back to that. This, when you move that decimal to the left, we're dividing by 100. We're making the number smaller. So yes, just wanted to be that clear. Percent, turn it, divide by 100. Next. Okay, so I'm leaving you at this. You could plug this into the calculator, 90 times 0.75 plus 95 times 0.1 and plus 82 times 0.15. But you make sure you need to do this step one at a time. First, you need to multiply these together, get your answer. Multiply these two together here, get your answer. Multiply these two together here, get your answer, and then go back to your calculator and add these things up. Because if you try to just go straight through here on your calculator, it's not going to give you the right answer. Just saying. All right. Have a wonderful day, Panthers. Peace out.